Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be sculpting some legs that I got as a commission. They're supposed to be tree roots, so I'm going to go through it in this video. So first of all, I'm starting with some Sculpting Original, and I prefer Sculpting Original over Super Sculpting just because I like the texture more and it feels a lot more like monster clay, just because it is a little bit softer. So I'm starting off with the paws here, the front paws, and the front paws are different from the back paws as well. So the front paws are more like a claws, like a regular claw of a wolf. And I started off rolling 3 little sausages, and I sort of sculpted out some knuckle joints in between just with my index and thumb finger. And then I'm just adding the back end of the heel and also that little claw that you see further up. I forgot what it's called. So I'm going to go and bake this little bit at the moment, and then I'll come back and add some more just because I want it to be hard and I don't want it to leave get messed up when I do you know, the rest of the leg. So I'm going to sculpt both of the front legs and then make sure that they will actually stand flat and they're flush against the ground, so when that doll stands it's not awkward and weird. So the same deal with the back legs, except with the back legs they're more of a point. So I just sculpted this little cone shaped to start off with, and then I actually baked it just so it retained shape before I added any more details on it. So, and with this one it has a smaller little back claw, so I'm sculpting that on right now. The same deal with the front legs, I just rolled out a little worm and then made sure both sides of the legs were even. So I'm going to be adding a joint here for just some more stability and for something for the tree roots to attach to. And in the meantime, I'm making sure I have double the parts just so they will match up and they're the same size when I go to attach any more bits. And you can see I'm just blending in the wet clay or the moist clay, whatever you want to call it, into the baked clay just so it adheres properly. So if you don't really work it into the baked clay, it has a likelihood to fall off. So right now I'm going to start on with tree roots, and I'm rolling out a few little wormies here in different sizes, different lengths as well. And this was a little bit of a challenge, this commission, just because I'd never sculpted anything with tree legs before, and I was a bit worried that it wasn't going to be stable enough. So what I did was basically build up a whole lot of these little worms just to make sure that it had the strength to hold itself once it's on the doll, and the weight of the doll as well. And I didn't want to use a wire armature in between all of these little worms just because it becomes a bit difficult when you're doing really thin things. The wire tends to have a poke out the side of it. Even if you do tiny little you know, adjustments or anything, they just poke out the side. So I wanted to not use wire structure. So what I did was I just attached all the worms to both ends, and I'm going to go and sort of weave them in between each other so they look like tree roots. And this was like a total experiment, so I just sort of made it up on the fly. So I was really happy with the way it turned out, as I didn't have to like go back to the drawing board. So what I did was attach the little worm structure onto the baked claw bit, and then I decided that I would lay it down and bake it flat and sort of weave it in and out of each other and then come back and add some more. So what I did was twist it around on each other, and then I got a little pin and just separated all little bits and pieces so there was some like space in between all of them. And then I went ahead and baked it in the oven just flat as you see here, and then I came back to it with some more bigger little wormies. So what I'm doing now is again building up some more support down where the ankle area is, because it's going to be holding these little worm structures, and I needed something for it to anchor down to properly, and that way the ankle wouldn't like snap or anything. So I made it pretty heavy duty. As heavy duty as you can make Sculpting, because we all know how fragile it is. And I like to actually work on both things, or all 4 legs at once, just so I know they're all the same size and the right size, and they're all done correctly and the same way as well. So I find if I go back to things it turns out different because my way of sculpting or doing something is different from when I did it the other day, or you know, even a couple of hours ago. So I like to do it all in one sitting. Alright, so now I'm adding some larger wormies around that little other worms. So these ones are thicker than the ones on the inside, again for that support, so that way it will have a lot more support around where the ankle joint is and around where I'm going to attach that to the top of the thing to the wire. So yeah, again, wanted so much more support, so I made them a little bit thicker this time. And again, working it into the baked clay just because you want it attached. So baked clay doesn't have a problem, you know, adhering to the wet clay or the non-baked clay. I've never had a problem with it, so I just don't really over-bake my clay if I'm doing bakes in between the sculpts. I just leave it in for a couple of, you know, maybe like 10 minutes or so, just so it actually goes a little bit hard, but not fully baked. Just in case of burns or anything like that. And then I'm going around and adding some more support to the toe areas and around the sides of the feet, just so it has a bit more definition and shape to it. So this doll was a little different from any other doll that I've done, just because it had sculpted legs. It had fully sculpted legs, so they're not actually posable because they are made of Sculpey, so you can't bend them, otherwise they'll snap. So I wanted to do something. I was pretty happy to do this commission because it was different from what I'm doing, and hopefully would be, you know, a different way into something else as well. So I'm just checking here that the foot will actually sit flat and won't sort of curl up a little bit. And this is what we have as a final form for the front two legs. I'm pretty happy the way it turned out. I think they do look like tree roots, especially the reference photo that I got. And moving on to the back legs, and same deal as well, except the back legs had a bit more of an angle where, I guess it's, I don't know, the ankle joint or something has a bit more of an angle to it, so, and it's further up as well. So yeah, the same deal, just twisting around the wormies just to make them a bit more tree root look like, and then attaching them to that already baked piece that will become the foot. And the same baking deal as well, so I set it up in a position that I was happy with, and then I went and baked it flat in the oven for about 10 minutes so I could come back and add some more little worm things around this, the other ones. And I had a bit of a play around to see what I liked the way it looked, so I ended up twisting it around and making the ankle joint, as you can see here. So this one is going to be off to the oven now, and then we can come back and add some more little details. Alright, so after it's been baked, I'm going to go ahead and add some thicker worms around the smaller structure to add that weight and the strength to hold the rest of the doll up, because the doll will be rested on that tiny little tip that you can see where the foot is. I also wanted this to be a lot stronger as well, so adding some thicker ones than what I added on the front two legs. And then working it into the baked clay as well, being careful not to put too much pressure on the baked clay that you have in between these pieces, just because if you put too much pressure on it, then you have a risk of snapping them, so just be very gentle with the way you're holding anything that is thin with polymer clay. Alright, so the front little feet have these little spikes, I guess you kind of call them, coming out from either side of the leg itself. So what I did was just, again, roll another worm with a pinched end, and I actually just worked it into the middle of the foot itself, the leg area, and that way it has a lot of places to attach to, so there's no risk of it falling off or anything. And you know, when you bake with polymer clay, there is a tiny bit of shrinkage, so you want to make sure that that piece can't pull away from the existing baked Sculpey. So in the next video I'll go through the painting, more painting, some details, the resin pieces, the fur, and any details that I attached. And that is it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any requests, you can leave it in the comments down below. You can also check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of Nat, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!